Jerry's hand froze on the rusted latch. The trunk lifted with a tired creak, like a yawn from an old man, and then his face changed. His smile died. His eyes went wide and glassy. "Jeremy. Mama. Come," he whispered, voice shaking. Inside the trunk sat a small, brown travel bag. It looked ordinary until Jerry pulled the zipper. Light fell across rows of thick gold bangles and a neat pile of sealed, crisp dollar bundles. On top, a folded note waited like it had been holding its breath for years. Jeremy stumbled backward. "What is this?" Madame Olivia clutched the edge of the car, her head wrap trembling. "God." Jerry picked up the note with both hands. His fingers shook as he read out loud, "Congratulations to whoever wins this. This was my first car when I was struggling. I used it for taxi until I met a stranger who changed my life. I'm giving it away with this gift to change yours too. Call me Chief Williams Anderson, CEO." Jerry couldn't finish. His voice broke. For a long second, no one moved. The street stayed quiet. The sun stood high over their late father's small bungalow in Ajegunle, warming the old roof, warming the twins' stunned faces, warming their mother's tears. Then, like wind pushed life back into the world, Jeremy grabbed Jerry's shoulders. "This is real. Jerry, this is real." But before the gold, there was the morning that started it all. Let's go back to how it started. "Today," Jerry said at dawn, staring at the cracked mirror, "we do something that makes sense to our souls." Jeremy tied his worn sneakers. "Even if people laugh, let them laugh." They stepped into the soft morning light. Their street smelled like fried akara and wet dust. Madame Olivia, 70 years old, already swept the front yard, slow and steady, her back a little bent, her scarf neat, her eyes kind. She had the kind of smile that made you feel safe, even when the world felt small. "You're awake early," she said. Jerry hid his grin. "We'll be back, Mama. There is something we need to check." Jeremy kissed her hand. "Pray for us." She raised her broom like a pastor's staff and smiled wider. "God go before you." They boarded 2 buses, then trekked to the auction yard by the port. Faded cars lined up like tired soldiers. Men shouted numbers. Some laughed loudly, smoking and joking. The shiny cars were in front. The unwanted ones were pushed to the back, dented, dusty, forgotten. And there it was, their car. It was small and old, with peeling blue paint and one missing hubcap. The driver's seat had a tear. The badge on the front looked tired too, but the engine turned over with a hopeful grumble when the attendant tried it. "What do you think?" Jeremy whispered. Jerry looked at him. "It's not about what people see. It's about what it can be to Mama." They had counted and recounted their money the night before. It wasn't much. It was everything. They had saved it from freelance software fixes, late-night bug hunts, tiny gigs nobody wanted. They had chosen this instead of a better phone, instead of new clothes, instead of rent upgrades. They had chosen love. When the bidding started, no one raised a hand. A man laughed. "Who wants that?" Jerry raised his hand. Another man squinted at them. "You sure?" Jeremy raised his hand too. "We're sure." Going once, going twice. The gavel came down. The sound cracked the morning. Sold. They signed the papers with careful hands. The stamp pressed down like a blessing. The attendant dropped the keys into Jerry's palm. The metal felt heavy and good. As they drove the car home slow, careful, with the windows down, Lagos air rushed in like a song. Children waved. An Okada rider honked playfully. Jeremy laughed for the first time in weeks, loud and free. Jerry tapped the steering gently, whispering, "She's going to smile. She's going to smile so wide." They parked in front of the bungalow, just as the sun climbed higher. Madame Olivia stepped out, wiping flour from her hands. The fragrance of jollof rice drifted through the doorway. "Mama," Jerry said, voice breaking. He held out the keys with both hands. Jeremy placed his hand over Jerry's so the keys rested on their joined palms. 2 sons, 1 gift. "For the suffering," Jerry said. "For the pain," Jeremy added. "For all the nights you didn't eat so we could," Jerry continued. "For the years after Dad died and you never gave up." Jeremy finished. "This is all we got," they said together. "This is all we could afford. Please accept it." Silence. Then, a sound like a tiny bell. Their mother's breath catching. She took the keys. Her hands were thin, her knuckles strong. She pulled both boys into a hug so tight they could feel her heartbeat. "Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jeremy. This means you will do more when you have more. We now have a car. Let's celebrate." She brought out a pot of hot jollof with smoked fish and soft plantain. They sat on plastic chairs under the small mango tree. The car rested by the gate like a quiet guest. Jerry said grace. Jeremy cracked a joke. Their mother laughed, that soft, musical laugh that made even the sky feel closer. For a moment, the world was simple and good. Then came the moment that would break open their lives. "Mama," she said, "let me buy vegetable and little pepper for evening soup. Let me keep my bag in the trunk." Jerry stood up cheerfully. "Driver Jerry at your service." He walked to the back of the car and pulled the rusty latch. The trunk creaked. The bag glowed. He called them over with a voice he did not recognize. Together, they unzipped the bag. Together, they touched a future they had not planned for. The gold was heavy, cool and bright, even in the dusty Sunday. The money was stacked neat, rubber-banded, labeled $5 million. Jeremy forced a breath. No one is seeing this, right? Are we dreaming? Jerry found the note and read it. The name Chief Williams Anderson sat there bold and calm, like a door left open on purpose. Madame Olivia held the edge of the trunk with both hands. Tears slid down her cheeks. "God of the fatherless," she whispered. "You remembered us." Jerry pulled out his phone with shaky fingers. "We have to call." Jeremy nodded, eyes locked on the number. "Call." Jerry dialed. Each ring felt like a drum in his chest. A deep voice answered, smooth and steady. "This is Chief Williams." Jerry swallowed. "Good afternoon, sir. My name is Jerry. We bought your old car today, the one at the auction. I'm with my twin brother, Jeremy, and our mother, Madame Olivia. We found your note." A pause. The kind that says someone is thinking very fast. "Where are you?" the voice asked. Jerry gave their address, his voice small and careful. Another pause. Then the deep voice turned even quieter. "Lock your gate and stay inside. Do not show that bag to anyone. I'm coming to you now." The line went dead. Jerry and Jeremy stared at each other. Madame Olivia wiped her tears, stood up straighter, and reached for both sons' hands. Inside. Now. They shut the gate. The compound felt suddenly small. The street outside sounded louder than before. Jerry turned the key inside the front door. Jeremy drew the curtains gently, leaving a thin slice of daylight. For 10 long minutes, the only sound was their breathing, and the far-off growl of engines growing closer down the dusty road. A line of dark SUVs rolled into view, sleek and silent, stopping at their gate like shadows. A knock landed on the metal gate, 3 slow, heavy knocks. Jeremy's throat tightened. "Jerry, is that really him?" Jerry took a step toward the door, heart pounding, when a second sound was louder, another car screeching to a stop just behind the convoy. A stranger jumped out, shouting through the dust, "Hey, that car, there's something inside that belongs to me." Jerry froze with his hand on the bolt. The compound went silent again. Another knock, this time firmer. "Jerry," Madame Olivia whispered, "don't open yet." He swallowed hard, the note still warm in his pocket, gold gleaming in the corner of his eyes, his family standing behind him, caught between a promise and a threat. He lifted the bolt. Jerry's hand froze on the bolt. Jeremy's chest rose and fell like a drum. Madame Olivia clutched her scarf tighter, whispering prayers under her breath. "Jerry," Jeremy hissed, "don't open it." But the third knock came heavier. Deliberate, a knock that said whoever was outside knew they would be answered. Then came the voice, calm, deep, certain. "This is Chief Williams Anderson. Open the gate." The 3 of them locked eyes. Jerry's pulse raced. Could it be real? Was the billionaire truly standing outside their rusty gate? Or was it the other man who shouted a moment ago, claiming something inside the car belonged to him? Before Jerry could decide, Jeremy's phone buzzed. A message appeared. "This is Chief Williams. I am outside your gate. My men are with me. Do not be afraid." The twins gasped together. "It's really him," Jeremy whispered. Madame Olivia wiped a tear from her cheek. "Then open, my son." Jerry slid the bolt back. The gate groaned as he pulled it open, and in that moment, the dusty street outside changed forever. A convoy of black SUVs gleamed in the afternoon Sunday. Men in suits and dark glasses stood straight, scanning every corner like hawks, and in the middle, stepping out of the lead SUV, was a tall, broad-shouldered man in a white agbada. His red Igbo cap tilted with quiet pride. His presence carried power, but his eyes calm, steady, knowing carried something else. Memory. "Good afternoon," he said, his baritone voice filling the air. "You must be Jerry." "And Jeremy." The twins bowed their heads instinctively. "Yes, sir." And straight, Chief Williams walked closer, his bodyguards holding back. His eyes softened as he looked at Madame Olivia. "And this must be Mama." She bent her knees, voice trembling. "Welcome, my son. You are most welcome." But before the warm moment could settle, the sound of hurried footsteps cut across the street. The stranger who had shouted earlier pushed through the dust. He was slim, wearing a dirty shirt, his eyes wild and desperate. "That bag is mine," he yelled, pointing at the car. "I saw it first. I was coming to bid, but these boys stole it." Two of Chief Williams' bodyguards moved instantly, blocking the man with arms like steel. One raised his hand, halting the man in his tracks. Chief Williams turned slowly, his expression calm but sharp. "Who are you?" The man stammered, backing away under the billionaire's gaze. His bravado melted. I just. Chief Williams' hand flicked once. His guards escorted the man back, firm but silent. The street fell quiet again, save for the pounding in Jerry's ears. "Inside," Chief Williams said gently. "Let us talk inside." They guided him into the bungalow. It was simple, old sofa, faded curtains, photos of their late father on the wall, but it was home. Chief Williams sat down slowly, as though he respected even the humblest place. His guards stayed outside, the door closed behind them. Jerry placed the brown bag on the table. His throat felt dry. "Sir, we opened the trunk and found this. We didn't know. We thought the car was just old." Chief Williams leaned forward, resting his hand on the bag. His ring gleamed under the weak bulb. "I left it there on purpose," he said softly. "Years ago, that car carried my dreams. I was a taxi driver then. It was inside that same car that a stranger gave me my first opportunity. I promised myself, one day, when God blesses me, I will use this car to bless someone else." Jeremy swallowed. "And we were the ones who bought it," Chief Williams nodded. "Because you honored your mother." His eyes moved to Madame Olivia, whose hands shook as she clasped them together. The heavens reward such things. Jerry couldn't hold back anymore. Tears rolled down his face. "Sir, you don't understand. We bought this car with everything we had. We wanted to make Mama smile. We thought this was all we got." Chief Williams smiled faintly, his voice deep. "And yet, by giving your all, you opened the door to more than you imagined." Madame Olivia broke down, covering her face with both hands. "Lord, thank you." For a moment, silence filled the small room, broken only by her sobs and the sound of hope blooming in their chests. Then Chief Williams straightened. His tone shifted firmer now. "But listen carefully. What lies in this bag can save you or destroy you. People would kill for it. That is why I came myself." The twins stiffened. "What do we do, sir?" "You follow my guidance," he said. "Tomorrow, I will take you to Lekki. You will stay in one of my houses for safety. From there, we will plan how you use this blessing wisely." Jeremy blinked in disbelief. "Lekki? You mean your estate?" Chief Williams chuckled. "Yes. Tonight, you will sleep where you never dreamed you could. But first," he looked directly at Jerry, "I need you to promise me one thing. Neither of you must tell anyone about this gift until the right time. Not even your closest friends. Do you understand?" Jerry and Jeremy nodded quickly. "Yes, sir." "Good." He stood. "Then gather what you need. We leave in 1 hour." The room spun with shock. Madame Olivia trembled, whispering prayers of gratitude. Jerry squeezed her hand. Jeremy stared at the bag like it was a living thing. Outside, the convoy engines rumbled, ready to move. Neighbors peeked from afar, whispering about the strange black cars outside the poor bungalow. None of them could guess the truth. As Jerry packed their few clothes into an old bag, he kept glancing at the car through the window. The old, dented car that had become the bridge to a new world. Jeremy zipped the bag shut, his eyes wet. "Jerry, our life just changed." Jerry nodded slowly. "But at what cost?" "Because somewhere, Deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. The bag was heavy, not just with money and gold, but with a destiny they could not yet see. And as they stepped outside to follow Chief Williams toward the convoy, the desperate man from earlier lurked in the shadows of the street, his eyes burning, watching every move they made. He was not finished. The convoy door opened. Madame Olivia clutched her son's hands tightly. "Wherever this leads, we walk together." They entered the SUV. The door slammed shut, the engines roared, and Ajegunle watched as Madame Olivia and her twin sons were driven away toward Lekki, toward a mansion, toward a future brighter and more dangerous than anything they had ever known. But waiting ahead, unseen, was a twist that would test every ounce of their faith, loyalty, and love. The convoy glided out of Ajegunle like a shadow leaving the earth behind. Jerry pressed his face to the tinted window, watching their old street shrink until it disappeared. Jeremy sat stiff, one hand clenched into a fist, the other gripping the bag at his feet. Madame Olivia prayed silently, her lips moving, her eyes shut tight, tears sliding down her wrinkled cheeks. For years, poverty had been their companion. And now, here they were riding in the kind of cars they once only saw on TV. The leather seats smelled expensive. The air conditioning hummed gently, everything felt unreal. "Relax," Chief Williams said from the opposite seat, his deep voice steady. "This is only the beginning." Jeremy dared a glance at him. The billionaire was calm, almost fatherly. But there was something else in his gaze, something that reminded Jeremy of storm clouds waiting to break. "Sir," Jerry said carefully, "why us? Why not someone richer? Why not someone who already has connections?" Chief Williams looked straight at him. "Because people who already have think only of themselves. I was once where you are. I know the value of a gift. When life has given you nothing, you bought that car not for yourselves, but for your mother. That tells me who you are." The twins exchanged a look. For the first time, Jerry saw pride in his brother's eyes, not just relief. The drive stretched long. Lagos traffic snarled in some places, but the convoy moved through as if the city itself parted for Chief Williams. Hours later, the SUVs turned into Lekki Phase 1. Jeremy gasped. "Jerry, it was like stepping into another world. Wide roads, tall gates, mansions with shining glass walls, and gardens blooming like paintings. Security lights glowed on every corner. Children played on driveways with bicycles that cost more than the twins' entire savings. The convoy slowed in front of a massive estate. The gate opened silently, and the cars rolled into a compound, so wide it looked like a park. The mansion rose tall and white, with balconies wrapped in gold rails, marble steps that shone under the evening sun, and a fountain spraying water high into the air. Jeremy's throat went dry. "Mama, look." Madame Olivia clutched both sons' hands. She couldn't speak. Chief Williams stepped out first. His bodyguards formed a silent line as he guided them inside. The doors opened into a world the twins never imagined. Crystal chandeliers, polished marble floors, paintings bigger than their old bedroom, and a staircase that spiraled like something out of a dream. "This will be your home," Chief Williams said simply. Jerry stopped in his tracks. "Sir, you mean we can stay here?" "Not just stay," Chief Williams replied. "This house is yours, for security now, and for your future after." The words struck like thunder. Madame Olivia's knees buckled. She dropped to the floor, hands lifted high. "Jehovah, you have remembered me." Chief Williams gently pulled her up. "No, Mama. God remembered you through your sacrifice, and through your sons." For the next hour, the mansion buzzed with activity. Servants rushed to prepare rooms, setting new beds, arranging clothes, filling the kitchen with food. The twins walked from room to room like explorers in a palace, their voices echoing as they shouted to each other from different wings. Jeremy leaned over the balcony and whispered, "Jerry, are we dreaming?" Jerry touched the rail, grounding himself. "If this is a dream, let it never end." Dinner was served in a hall with a long table. They ate like royalty: grilled chicken, fried rice, pepper soup rich with meat. Madame Olivia wept through every bite, her hands trembling with gratitude. After dinner, Chief Williams excused himself, leaving them to rest. The twins settled in one room together, too overwhelmed to sleep in separate wings of the mansion. The bag of money and gold sat on a chair between their beds. The room was silent except for the hum of the air conditioner. But Jerry couldn't sleep. He turned to his brother. "Jeremy, Why did he choose us? Really? Jeremy rolled over, staring at the ceiling. Because we bought the car. No. Jerry shook his head. I mean, why give us everything? $5 million. Gold. A mansion. Why risk so much for strangers? Jeremy's silence stretched. Finally, he whispered, maybe because he sees something in us. Or maybe because he wants something from us. The words hung heavy. Jerry thought about the desperate man outside their gate, the way Chief Williams had spoken about danger, the weight of that bag on the chair. He thought about how quickly life had changed and how quickly it could fall apart. Sleep eventually pulled them under, but at 2 a.m., Jerry's eyes snapped open. A sound drifted through the mansion, soft, almost hidden. A shuffle. A faint click. He sat up, heart pounding. Jeremy stirred. What? Shh. They listened. Another click. Like a door handle. Like someone moving where they shouldn't. Jerry slid out of bed and crept to the door. He pressed his ear against it. Footsteps. Slow. Careful. Coming closer. Jeremy joined him, eyes wide. What do we do? The bag of money and gold glowed faintly in the corner, its presence almost alive. Jerry grabbed it, clutching it tight. We protect it. The footsteps stopped right outside their door. Silence. Then a knock. Both twins froze. Jeremy, a voice whispered through the door. It was not Chief Williams. It was not a servant. It was the desperate man. How did he get in? Jeremy mouthed. Jerry's blood ran cold. The man's voice came again, soft, urgent. Open. If you know what's good for you, open. That bag doesn't belong to you. It belongs to me. Jeremy's knees shook. He followed us here. The knob turned slowly. Jerry clutched the bag, heart hammering. Jeremy, hold the door. And as his brother braced against it, the voice outside lowered to a whisper that chilled the air. You think Chief Williams is your savior? You don't know who he really is. The knob twisted harder. The mansion, their safety, their dreams, it all hung by a thread. And in that moment, Jerry realized something terrifying. The gift in their hands was not just a blessing. It was a battle. The door rattled once more. Then silence. But silence can be the loudest danger of all. The silence pressed like a hand on Jerry's throat. The doorknob stopped turning. No footsteps, no voice, just stillness. Jeremy's palms dripped sweat as he held the door tight. Jerry clutched the bag against his chest, every heartbeat louder than the last. Is he gone? Jeremy whispered. Jerry leaned closer to the door, his ear almost pressed against the wood. Nothing. Just the hum of the air conditioner. But then a soft scrape. Like shoes sliding on polished marble. The man was still there. Suddenly, a voice cut through the darkness, deep and commanding. Who is in this hallway? It was Chief Williams. The shuffle of hurried footsteps followed someone running. The intruder was fleeing. Heavy boots thundered as two bodyguards stormed past their door. Shouts echoed through the mansion. Catch him! By the east wing, move! The boys flinched as the commotion rolled through the halls. A door slammed. A crash rang out like glass shattering. Then silence again. Moments later, the door to their room opened. Chief Williams entered, his face carved from stone. Two bodyguards flanked him, their guns visible now. He scanned the room, his gaze landing on the bag Jerry held like a lifeline. You did well, Chief Williams said quietly. You did not open the door. Jeremy's voice shook. Who? Who was that man? How did he get in? Chief Williams's jaw tightened. A shadow from my past. I thought he would never return. He stepped closer, his eyes dark. Boys, you must understand. The gift I gave you is not ordinary. That gold, that money, they are clean. But there are men who believe they have a right to it. Men who watched me rise and swore I would never share my blessings. Jerry's voice trembled. Sir, why does he say the bag belongs to him? Chief Williams's eyes softened for a moment, then hardened again. Because he once rode in that car with me. He helped me in my early days. But when fortune came, he turned greedy. He wanted everything. So I cut ties. Since then, he has hunted that car, believing it holds what should have been his. And now, it has found you. Jeremy swallowed. So he won't stop. No, Chief Williams said, he will not stop. A chill swept through Jerry's chest. The bag seemed heavier than before, as if the truth had added weight to it. Chief Williams turned to his guards. Double the patrols. No one enters this house without my command. Yes, sir, the guard said firmly. When they were gone, Chief Williams sat on the edge of their bed. The room fell quiet. His agbada shimmered faintly under the dim light, his face unreadable. You may think this is a curse, he said slowly. But listen to me. It is also your test. Every blessing comes with a trial. Do you have the strength to carry it? Jerry looked down at his trembling hands. Did he? Did they? Jeremy asked the question both feared. Sir, if we say no? If we say we don't want it? Chief Williams studied him for a long moment, then smiled faintly. Then I take it back. The mansion, the bag, the gold. You return to your old life. The words hit like a hammer. Return to Ajigunle? Return to poverty, hunger, watching their mother work herself to exhaustion just to survive? Jerry's voice cracked. No, we can't go back. Chief Williams nodded. Then you must go forward. He rose, placing a hand on Jerry's shoulder. Rest now. Tomorrow I will show you why destiny chose you. He left the room. The door closed softly behind him. The twins lay awake for hours, their thoughts tangled. Madame Olivia entered later, sitting on the edge of Jerry's bed, stroking his hair like she used to when they were children. My sons, she whispered, blessings are not without battles. But I know the God who gave us this gift will not abandon us. Her faith wrapped around them like a blanket. And for a while, they slept. Morning came with brightness the twins weren't used to. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, painting golden patterns on the marble. The smell of fried yam and eggs floated from the kitchen. But Chief Williams was waiting for them in the living room, dressed sharply, his expression grave. Today, he said, you begin learning the truth. About me, about this bag, about why your lives must never be the same. They followed him outside to a side garage. A single car sat under a white cover. With a slow pull, Chief Williams revealed it gleaming silver, old but polished, with scars of years long past. That is the car I drove when I had nothing, he said. The car that carried me through storms, hunger, rejection. That bag you hold, it was placed in its trunk as a promise. Whoever bought the car with love, not greed, would inherit my unfinished story. Jeremy's mouth went dry. Unfinished? Yes, Chief Williams said. Because wealth is not the end. Wealth is the beginning. What you hold is not just gold and money. It is a key to responsibilities, partnerships, and enemies you do not yet understand. Jerry's chest tightened. Enemies like him. Chief Williams's eyes darkened. Yes, and worse. Just then, a guard rushed in. Sir, we caught the intruder. He was hiding in the compound. The twins froze. Bring him, Chief Williams ordered. Minutes later, the desperate man was dragged forward. His shirt was torn, his face bruised, but his eyes burned with wild fury. He spat at the ground. Thieves, he shouted. Those boys stole my future. That bag was mine before you tricked me, Williams. Chief Williams' voice was steel. You chose greed over loyalty. And greed has no inheritance. The man laughed bitterly. Then let the boys hear it. Let them hear what you never told them about the blood that paid for that gold, about the secret that could destroy you. The twins stiffened. Blood? Chief Williams's face remained calm, but his silence was louder than denial. The man sneered. Yes. Ask him where that gold came from. Ask him who died before he rose to riches. Ask him if he truly deserves to be called a giver or a thief dressed like a king. The guards held him back as his words echoed in the compound. Jerry and Jeremy turned to Chief Williams, their hearts pounding. For the first time, doubt crept in. Sir, Jerry whispered. Is it true? Chief Williams met their gaze, his voice low, steady. Tomorrow, you will know everything. But in Jerry's heart, fear had already taken root, because blessings that hide blood can never rest quietly. And the truth, once spoken, could break everything. The compound was hushed, though the man's words still echoed in Jerry's head like a drumbeat. Blood, gold, thief dressed like a king. The twins stood frozen. Madame Olivia pressed a trembling hand to her chest, her heart heavy with fear. Chief Williams stood tall, his agbada fluttering lightly in the night breeze, but there was no denying the tension etched on his face. The intruder laughed bitterly. Tell them, Williams. Tell them how you became rich. Let them know whose blood bought your empire. Jerry's throat tightened. Sir, is it true? Did someone die for this? Chief William's eyes softened with regret. He turned toward the boys, not flinching from their gaze. Yes, someone did. The admission fell like a hammer. Jeremy staggered back. Madame Olivia gasped. The intruder grinned with triumph. Chief Williams raised his hand to quiet the storm. But listen to the truth. I did not kill. I did not steal. Years ago, when I was nothing but a taxi driver, I carried passengers through the most dangerous parts of Lagos. One night, a man entered my cab, a smuggler running from his own enemies. He carried a bag full of gold and dollars. He begged me to drive. I drove. But before we could escape, they caught us. Gunfire broke out. The man was killed. In his dying breath, he pressed the bag into my hands and said, "Use it for good. Make it count." He bowed his head. That man was the intruder's brother. He believes I stole from his family. But what I carried was not theft, it was an inheritance of destiny. I used it to break free from poverty. I built my first business, then another, until I became who I am today. And I vowed that one day, I would give it away again to someone who knew sacrifice, not greed. That is why the bag found you. The intruder spat. Lies. You made an empire on our blood. And now you hide behind charity. Jerry's chest heaved. He wanted to believe Chief Williams. He wanted to trust the man who had saved them from nothing. But doubt was a sharp knife in his heart. Jeremy stepped forward, his voice shaking but firm. Sir, if you truly gave this to us for good, then let us prove it. Let us use it not for greed, not for luxury, but for legacy. That way, the blood will not speak of curses, but of blessings. The courtyard fell silent. Even the intruder blinked at the boldness of the boy. Chief Williams's lips curved into a small, weary smile. Spoken like a true son of destiny. He turned to the guards. Take him away. He will not touch them again. The intruder struggled, shouting curses, as the guards dragged him into the darkness. His voice grew faint, but his words lingered. Blood never sleeps. The truth will haunt you. When the gate shut behind him, Chief Williams faced Jeremy, and Madame Olivia. The world will always have men like him. But the question is, what will you do with what you have been given? Jerry held the bag tighter. Jeremy looked at his mother. Madame Olivia's eyes, wet with tears, were steady. We will use it for good, she said firmly. For my children, for their children, for the world. This gift will not rot in greed. It will grow. Chief Williams bowed his head respectfully. Then you have passed the test. The night broke with a new dawn, and with it, a new life began. Years later, Lagos was buzzing. A massive crowd gathered outside a towering glass building in Victoria Island. Cameras flashed, reporters jostled. A giant banner waved above the entrance. JJ Tech Grand Opening. Jerry and Jeremy, now men in their late 20s, stood in sharp navy blue suits. Their faces carried the same fire as the boys who once clutched a bag in fear. But now there was confidence, maturity, and purpose. Beside them stood Madame Olivia, graceful in an elegant Ankara gown with a golden head tie. Her eyes brimmed with tears as she held a giant ribbon-cutting scissors. Jerry stepped forward to the microphone. His voice carried power and humility. Today is not just about us. JJ Tech is not just a company. It is a dream, born from sacrifice. When our father died, our mother bent but never broke. She worked her hands raw so we could learn, so we could become engineers, so we could code our way into the future. This company is named not only after Jerry and Jeremy, it is named after her prayers, after our father's memory, after every poor boy in Ajagunle who dares to dream. Jeremy followed, his voice thick with emotion. This is all we got, faith, family, and the chance to create something bigger than ourselves. We promise Africa that JJ Tech will not just build software, it will build futures. The crowd erupted with applause. Madame Olivia raised the scissors, her hands trembling, and cut the ribbon. The building's glass doors slid open, revealing the beating heart of Africa's newest tech giant. Months later, JJ Tech had become the talk of the continent. At a Lagos press conference, Jerry noticed her first Sophia, a brilliant software analyst with glowing brown skin, curly black hair, tied back neatly, and sharp, intelligent eyes. She asked a question that pierced through the noise. How will JJ Tech ensure that technology reaches the poor, not just the rich? Jerry smiled. By remembering where we came from. By never forgetting Ajagunle. Their eyes met. Something sparked. Meanwhile, Jeremy's gaze fell on Nadia, a poised journalist with caramel skin and a gentle smile, who introduced herself with grace. She wasn't just curious about their company, she was curious about their story. And Jeremy found himself answering not just with facts, but with his heart. Weeks later, Jerry brought Sophia home. Jeremy brought Nadia. Madame Olivia welcomed them with open arms, blessing them with palm oil on their foreheads and a prayer whispered through tears. Soon after came the double wedding. Lagos glittered with celebration. Madame Olivia, dressed in regal lace and gilet, walked both her sons down the aisle. Her hands shook with joy, but her steps were steady. The church bells rang as Jerry took Sophia's hand and Jeremy took Nadia's. Vows were spoken, rings exchanged, and the crowd wept as two brothers, once poor boys in Ajegunle, now stood as men of destiny with wives by their sides. Time passed, and blessings multiplied. Jerry and Sophia welcomed a daughter, a beautiful baby girl with soft brown skin and bright, curious eyes. They named her Olivia, after the woman who had given them everything. Jeremy and Nadia soon held their own bundle of joy, a son, strong and wide-eyed. They named him Jonathan, after the father they lost too soon. The day Madame Olivia held both grandchildren in her arms, her tears flowed freely. She whispered, "My greatest prayer has come true. My sons are men. My family is whole." Her laughter rang through the mansion, mingling with the cries of newborns. JJ Tech soared to become one of the best tech companies in Africa, creating jobs, empowering youths, and carrying hope across the continent. At every conference, at every milestone, Jerry and Jeremy spoke of where they came from, and the mother who cut the ribbon of their first office. Madame Olivia, now older but glowing with peace, often sat in the mansion garden, her grandchildren playing at her feet. She would look at the sky and whisper, "This was all we got." And it was enough. What began as an unwanted old car became the road to destiny, and from it grew a legacy that lit Africa with hope. What is your view about this story? Where are you watching from? If you enjoyed this story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.